Bao Loc Pass, one of the most treacherous mountain roads in all of Vietnam. At night, it's a completely different world. The fog rolls in so thick you can't see your own hand in front of your face, and the silence, it's almost unnatural. It presses in on you, broken only by the hum of your engine and the pounding of your own heart. For years, drivers who've dared to cross this pass after midnight have whispered about it. They all say the same thing. They've seen someone out there in the fog, someone who shouldn't be there, a solitary figure waiting in the darkness. Who is she, and what does she want? This is the story of a night that would forever change one driver's life, a chilling encounter in the heart of the midnight fog. It all started on a night back in 2019. A truck driver, a man named Trung, was making his usual run, hauling goods from Saigon up to the cool mountain city of Bao Loc. But this trip was different. He'd gotten a late start, and by the time his truck began the long, winding climb up Bao Loc Pass, the clock had already ticked past 2 a.m. The road was utterly deserted. Not another headlight, not another soul in sight. Just Trung, his truck, and the oppressive swirling fog that seemed to swallow the road just a few feet ahead of his headlights. He leaned forward, eyes straining to make out the turns, his hands gripping the steering wheel. As he navigated one of the steep inclines, his headlights cut through the gloom and caught something. A figure, standing on the very edge of the road, almost swallowed by the darkness. He slowed down, his heart thumping. It was a girl. She had long, dark hair that fell over her shoulders, and she was wearing a simple white dress. Her head was lowered as if she was staring at the ground, waiting. She looked so out of place, so vulnerable, standing alone in the middle of nowhere at this ungodly hour. Trung felt a pang of concern. What was a young woman doing all by herself up here? He pulled his truck over to the side of the road, the engine rumbling in the otherwise silent night. He rolled down his window. "Hey, are you okay? Do you need a ride?" The girl slowly lifted her head. Her face was pale, almost luminous in the dim light from his dashboard. She looked at him with large, dark eyes, but didn't say a word. She just gave a slight, hesitant nod. Trung unlocked the passenger door. Get in, it's not safe out here." She opened the door and climbed into the cab, closing it quietly behind her. She immediately reached for the seatbelt and buckled it, her movements stiff and deliberate. Trung put the truck back in gear and started driving again, the silence in the cab now feeling even heavier than before. He tried to break the tension. "What were you doing walking alone up here at this hour?" he asked, trying to sound casual. The girl didn't answer. She didn't even look at him. She just kept her gaze fixed on the fog-shrouded road ahead, her hands clenched tightly around the seatbelt. Trung tried again. "Where are you headed?" "I can drop you off at the next town." Again, only silence. She sat perfectly still, like a statue, her eyes wide and unblinking. A strange chill started to creep up Trung's spine. Something felt very, very wrong. He glanced at the rearview mirror, but all he could see was pitch blackness. He couldn't even see the girl's reflection in the side mirror. He told himself it was just the strange lighting, the thick fog playing tricks on his eyes. But the feeling of unease wouldn't go away. They were approaching the most notorious part of the Passer sharp hairpin curve known for its accidents. The locals called it the Curve of Death. As they neared the bend, the girl finally spoke. Her voice was barely a whisper, a faint airy sound that sent shivers down Trung's arms. "Slow down," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "They're coming." Trung's blood ran cold. He gripped the steering wheel tighter. Who's coming? He glanced in his mirrors again, searching the darkness behind them. There was nothing, just the endless, swirling fog. Her whisper came again, this time filled with a desperate urgency. "The people behind us." Trung's eyes darted to the rearview mirror. Still nothing, just the black, empty road. What was she talking about? Was he going crazy? Was she? And then he heard it, a horrifying scraping sound from the back of his truck. It was loud, metallic, like long fingernails being dragged slowly and deliberately across the container. Scratch, scray up. The sound was so vivid, so real, it made every hair on his body stand on end. Panic seized him. He slammed on the brakes, pulling the truck to a screeching halt right there on the shoulder of the cursed curve. His heart was hammering against his ribs. He whipped his head around to face the girl, his voice shaking. "Did you hear TH?" But he stopped mid-sentence. The passenger seat was empty. The girl was gone, but the seatbelt was still buckled, stretched tightly across the vacant seat, as if someone was still sitting there. The door was still locked from the inside, and then he saw it. On the inside of the windshield, right in front of the empty passenger seat, a small, perfect handprint was slowly appearing in the condensation, as if an invisible hand had just pressed against the cold glass. Trung stared, frozen in sheer terror, a coldness that had nothing to do with the mountain air spread through his entire body. He was alone, utterly and completely alone on Bao Loc Pass. The rest of the drive was a blur. Trung doesn't remember much, only the overwhelming urge to get off that mountain as fast as humanly possible. The sun was just beginning to rise when he finally pulled into a small roadside diner at the foot of the pass. He stumbled inside, his hands still shaking, and ordered a strong coffee. An elderly man who ran the diner noticed his pale, rattled expression. "Tough night?" The old man asked kindly. Trung just nodded, still too shaken to speak. The man looked at him knowingly. "You drove the pass last night. Did you see anyone up there?" Trung hesitated. Should he say it? Would this man think he was insane? Finally, he found his voice. "Yes," he mumbled. "A girl in a white dress. She looked like she needed help." The old man's friendly face went pale. He leaned in closer and lowered his voice. "Son, that girl, she died years ago, right at that sharp curve where you probably picked her up. A terrible accident." Trung felt the blood drain from his face. The old man continued, his voice somber. "She appears every so often on foggy nights, always trying to get a ride, but every driver who picks her up says the same thing. She always disappears right before they reach the curve. Trung's mind raced, connecting the pieces. The pale girl, the missing reflection, the buckled seatbelt, the handprint on the glass. It all clicked into place with horrifying clarity. She wasn't trying to harm him. The whispers, the scraping sounds. She was warning him. She was trying to save him from the same fate she had suffered. Since that terrifying night, Trung has never been the same. Every time he has to drive Bao Loc Pass, he stops at the bottom and lights 3 sticks of incense, a quiet prayer for the lonely spirit who watches over the road. He came to believe that some souls don't stay behind to haunt or to scare. They stay behind because their story was cut short, and they're just looking for someone, anyone, who will listen. To this day, other drivers report the same thing. On those nights when the fog rolls in thick and heavy, a solitary girl in a white dress can still be seen standing by the side of the road on Bao Loc Pass, still waiting, perhaps for a ride, or perhaps for someone to finally understand her final, silent warning. Thanks for watching. If you've ever had a strange experience on a lonely road, share your story in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe out there.